Hello everyone, Lycanthro Keith here with a special video. Um, so I kept this separate from my channel update video because I think this is something important that a lot of creators and a lot of people who support creators ought to know. So I'm going to preface this by saying please like this video, share this video. I think a lot of people need to know something that's going on here. Um, so this, as you can see from the title, involves Patreon. Now, I'll do a quick little plug for mine. I have Patreon as my source of income from YouTube because I don't have anywhere near enough subscribers to be monetized, and I think I probably wouldn't be all that well monetized anyway, given the state of the stuff I do. So, um, I have a Patreon with 3 tiers. $2 is Running with the Wolves. You get your name in a shout out at the end of every video. $5 is Beta Badasses. You get the shout out plus there's a poll up on Patreon about things on the channel, what I'm going to do, what you'd like to see or not see, things like that. So you get both of those. $10 is the poll, the shout out, and every month you get your choice of a Steam key from a big list I have collected over the years. I send you the list and say, okay, give me your top 3 choices, and you get a key. So, if you like playing games on Steam, that's something to consider. Okay, so I said that to put the point across, not only, self-advertisement never hurts, but also to say that Patreon is my source of income from this. And I'm fairly sure I'm not alone in that boat. Even people who are monetized on YouTube don't necessarily get that benefit all the time. And there's other sources such as Twitch and things like that. But something is going on with Patreon that I'm not happy about at all. And I wanted everybody to be aware of this. Now, if you're a creator who has a Patreon, odds are you've gotten this announcement. Some of you may have seen this depending on how you do Patreon, how you access it. But I'm going to read from the email that I was sent, just so I'm not misquoting anything. And I will, what I will probably do is post this email up as I read it so you can see it for yourselves. Okay, here is what they sent me. And let's see, the date on this, this was Monday, August 12th. So, hey, good business form there. Apple is requiring that Patreon use their in-app purchasing system and remove all other billing systems from the Patreon iOS app by November 2024. This means that starting in November, new memberships purchased in the iOS app will be subject to Apple's 30% App Store fee. You're currently on a first-of-the-month billing model. That is how I set mine up personally, just because there's a lot of things I have going on throughout the month, and I'm not only an insomniac, but I can also be absent-minded. Having everything happen at the first of the month makes it a lot easier for me to keep track of things. That's simply why I was doing it. But Apple's in-app purchase system only supports subscription billing. Apple has made clear that if creators on Patreon continue to use unsupported billing models or disable transactions in the iOS app, we will be at risk of having the entire app removed from their app store. Let that sink in for a moment. So basically, Apple is dictating to Patreon exactly how they're going to conduct the entirety of their business, not just the business that they're doing with the iOS format. I'm going to say this personally. I have major issues with Apple, and I used to be an Apple consumer. for a long time, I was looking for a good MP3 player, and I couldn't find anything that beat the iPod. And the best one I ever had was an iPod Classic, 160 gigabytes, more than enough room for my music library. And I got used to I was kind of put off by the click wheel at first, but I got used to it. And iTunes was easy enough to add stuff to once I figured it out. So, I flowed with it okay. And then Apple decided that the iPods, and certain versions of them at least, weren't going to be good enough anymore. So they added a firmware update to, a software update to iTunes that would restrict them from recognizing older iPods. So basically, in one update that I didn't have a choice about, they completely locked out my iPod from being able to put on any new music. And I didn't like that. As much as I like technology, I'm going on about, my 3D printer and, my laptop and, stuff like, this and the cam and all that. I don't upgrade for the sake of upgrading. I'm not somebody who decides that every year they have to have the latest and greatest. What I do is I find something that fits my needs, and if it keeps fitting my needs, I stick with it. I don't truly consider something obsolete in the same way that other people do. If you still have a functional use for it and it's still fulfilling its purpose, I don't consider that obsolete. I could take a computer that has Windows 98 on and still have uses for it. Like running, classic games, for example, without having to fuck with compatibility mode. So, this kind of thing really irritates me, and I have no idea if it affects anybody on my Patreon or not, because I don't know how they're accessing. So this could be affecting half of the people I have in my Patreon. This could be affecting none of them. There could be people who want to sign up in the future who would be totally screwed. And the other thing I'm not happy about, which I'll read now actually, because this goes into the next part. So, starting in November, your fans in the iOS app won't be able to purchase subscriptions to your membership until you switch to subscription billing. And as a result of Apple's mandates, and in order to make sure that you can continue getting new members in the iOS app, we've started a 16-month-long migration process to bring all creators onto subscription billing by November 2025. This means that your current billing model will be discontinued in November 2025. We want to give you all of the tools and information you need to navigate this change in the least disruptive way possible. To help you keep growing across all platforms, we're going to automatically switch you over to subscription billing in November 2024. Okay, well, first off, which is it? Is it 2025 or 2024? Because you've just told me two different things in two different paragraphs. Once you're on subscription billing, you can control how Apple's fee is applied. You can either maintain your earnings by setting a higher price for new memberships purchased in the iOS app, default, or absorb the App Store fee yourself. Remember, the Apple fee only applies to new memberships purchased in the iOS app. You can delay the migration to subscription billing by choosing to in your settings. The deadline to delay the migration to subscription billing is November 1st, 2024. So once again, we have a little bit of a conflicting statement here. It's like, well, we're going to automatically switch you over in November of 2024, but you can opt to stay on your current billing plan if you let us know by November 2024, but we're going to switch you over in into November 2025. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, as far as the anybody who's signing up for Patreon through the iOS app, when they do a subscription, you have a choice. You can either let us gouge them for additional money for doing it through that platform, or you can, let us take it out of your ass. If you delay, you'll be able to stay on your current billing model until November 2025, but Apple's mandate still applies. Come November 2024, your fans won't be able to purchase memberships in the iOS app unless you switch to subscription billing. So you can, but you can't. Yeah. We want to do absolutely everything we can to make sure that these changes are as smooth as possible for you, your fans, and your business. We didn't choose this path, but we're focusing on resources on making subscription billing an even better experience for creators and fans. This will take time, and we're committed to making it happen for every creator. Well, isn't that just jolly old fuck? In the coming months, expect to hear more from us as we bring together communities of creators on first of the month billing to talk about migration tips, keep you up to date with reminders and notifications, and share more resources to support you through the billing model change. We'll be in touch soon. And down at the bottom here, there's more resources. Read our announcement, learn how we'll be improving subscription billing to better support your business. Hear about these changes directly from CEO Jack Conte. Join the Q&A on Discord to get your questions answered by Patreon. A little late for that. Read our FAQ about migrating to subscription billing. So if I can, I'm going to take these links and put them in the description of this video so that anybody can take a look at these. But this is what I got. This is, I was happy after the whole thing with the iPod Classic incident to never have to deal with Apple again. But Apple is strong-arming Patreon, plain and simple here. And one of two things are going to happen. If you go through Apple, either new subscribers are going to eat the cost, or I'm going to have to eat the cost. And either way, that sucks. On top of that, I don't like the fact that I'm being forced to I'm being forced to switch to the subscription model eventually. Truth be told, I was pondering it because I thought that might make it easier for some folks. I also have to consider what's easier for me as a creator to handle, so I don't end up disappointing anybody by totally forgetting, oh crap, it's the 14th of the month, I got it, this guy's reward is due. But it appears I really don't have a choice now. But there are still choices in this. First off, if you're interested in joining my Patreon or anybody else's Patreon, my first suggestion is don't do it through Apple iOS if you can possibly avoid it. You can do it directly through Patreon's site. The Patreon app, I'm sure, is available other places. If you happen to have an iPhone, you might be stuck. But then again, from everything I've heard, if you happen to have an iPhone, you're stuck with a whole lot of things that are not ideal. The other thing, I do have one member of my Patreon who pays me every month through PayPal. Now, the reason they do this is because they don't have a major credit card or a debit card to set up an automatic withdrawal through Patreon. I think you might be able to do it through a checking account, but I'm not sure, honestly. I do all mine through a debit card for the people that I Patreon in return, or patron, whatever the hell the verb is, I don't know. You get it. But PayPal is a certainly acceptable option. I've had no problems with it. From what I see, they don't charge any fees to the person sending the money. They charge a fee for me to withdraw it, but I don't care. It's minimal, and I'm used to that. I've used PayPal for years, and I think in all the I've used PayPal for over a decade and a half, and I think in all that time I can count on like one hand the number of times I've had problems with it, and still have this to give to Apple. So that is an option. If it's something you'd like to do, by all means, please let me know, and I will make arrangements with you. Whatever tier that you decide to donate for, I will make sure you get everything that you would get if you had gone through Patreon themselves. You will not miss out on any benefits. And I don't treat the people that do things through PayPal any less than I treat the people that do things through Patreon. I'm also looking into some other possible ways to sponsor me and still get the same kind of benefits. I've heard Coffee, I think, Kofi. I guess that's pronounced coffee. See, when I see that, I'm a wrestling fan, so I see Kofi, I think of Kofi Kingston. So, one day I'll sign up for that, and it'll be a new day. Yes, it will. But, yeah, I'm looking into that, and, I'm sure there are other options out there. I'm not going to abandon Patreon, because Patreon's been good to me. But at the same time, I don't want anyone getting screwed over because they didn't know about the BS Apple's pulling. And to be forewarned is to be forearmed. And caveat emptor, buyer beware. So if Apple's going to try to screw people over like this, the least I can do is give them enough information to potentially screw them back. So that's what I had to say about that. As I asked at the start of the video, please like this video, please share this video. If you know of someone who is a content creator using Patreon, if you know of somebody who patrons a content creator, because this is not just about YouTube Let's Plays. This is about the whole of Patreon. Anything that goes through the Patreon app in Apple iOS is subject to this. So people who are, comic creators, who make animation, who do art, anything like that, they're all staring down the barrel of this. So make people aware, make them aware that they have options, and know that if you would like to sponsor me, first off, I would be very grateful, and know that you have options as far as I'm concerned. All right, so thank you for listening. Thank you for distributing the news. It is very much appreciated. And be aware of the stuff the companies try to pull, because, at the end of the day, it's the dollars, it ain't the people. So, everyone, take care. Until we game again. This episode's Angry Orchard was made possible by Mike Panza, Viceroy Scorn, Rick in Baltimore, Diote, Jumpy Cat, the post-production contributions of Matthew Carr Anderson, and all my far from patronizing lycanthrope fans. Thank you very much for your continued support. Until we game again.